when he joins. So good morning, everyone. My name's Jane Brookman, and we're here for the second session of the day on food manufacturing and supply chain. And I'll introduce the panel shortly, and hopefully they'll all be present by that time. The format for this session, which is 1 hour long, is that we will have a discussion with a panel for the first half an hour, and where we'd ask you to put Q&A through into the question and answer box, followed by a participatory group session with all of you in breakout rooms for the second half an hour. The sessions will be recorded, but only the first session will go onto the YouTube channel. So I think, yes, so I've just seen an email there from Nicholas. So maybe if we can start then by me introducing the panel this morning. So first off, we have Bernard Kawanda, who's the CEO of Mzuzu Coffee. So Bernard, would you perhaps like to say good morning to everyone?
Good morning.
And we have Wayne Martindale, who's from the National Centre for Food Manufacturing at the University of Lincoln within the UK. We also have Nicholas Ambanya, who's the Chief Production Officer of Twiga. I'm not sure whether Nicholas is here yet, but we will kick off anyway and hope that he joins us shortly. So maybe I could ask Bernard, if you could perhaps start with a response to the question of the technology and innovation role in what role do you feel technology and innovation could or perhaps should play in developing new and different supply chains in Africa? And do you have any particular examples that you may be aware of?
Thank you very much for the question. And let me start about the issue of rapid population growth and the issue of the effect of climate change and the COVID-19 and how this affects the 4 pillars of food security. That's the food availability, food access, food stability, and the food utilization. These are very key, and the impact of it all are quite strong in terms of the food systems, the global economy, the poverty, the health, and the trade. And in this context, what we should be looking at is the technologies that we can employ in the food supply systems. And one of it is particularly on processing. And the issue of processing has been in such a way that most of the food items or the food commodities have been supplied onto the market as commodities, and they're being processed in a different country. And this has been the trend for the past, I don't know how many years. As a result of that, what we're doing is carrying the food items as raw materials. And this is a cost in terms of transportation and in terms of the byproducts and the waste. And one of the key things that we should be looking at is transferring the processing to come to the nearest place with the producer organizations or where the farmers are, correction centers, and then processing facilities. And then we transport the finished product to the market. That would reduce the cost of production, the cost of processing and the cost of transportation. And then the other aspect of it all is actually the issue of e-commerce. The issue of e-commerce is very important in the food supply chain, because that makes people to reduce the cost of transportation as well, and in terms of intermediaries, and it makes the food, the product accessible to the consumers within the e-commerce. And a good example of that has been the way how Rwanda has done with their e-commerce in terms of their gorilla coffee and the finished product which they've been selling. But that is because Rwanda has been quite advanced in terms of ICT infrastructure. And the second one is actually an example that I got when I was attending a presentation in the Netherlands. That's of the use of blockchain. And the issue of blockchain, I think that too was quite good. And unfortunately, I don't even understand how it works, but then there were lots of benefits to that, because that social entrepreneur was making a presentation, and it was involving Ethiopia, where they're using the blockchain. So I looked at that one as a very good technology to be used in the supply chain management.
Thanks, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, so basically you're saying that really we should make sure that we shorten the production supply chain. So the first thing is to produce in the country where you're growing the crops, and shorten that production supply chain by co-locating the processing with the actual primary production then. And then, yes. We have the usual blockchain, how on earth does it work point, and then the linking together of buyers and transport, etc., and producers through e-commerce. So thank you very much for those examples, Bernard. Wayne, what's your take on this sort of view of how and where should we be looking for new supply chains or structures in Africa?
One of the things that Bernard mentioned was modularization and mobilization of technologies. I'm very much for much of my career been an observer looking in on Africa, and it's only since I've worked at the National Centre for Food Manufacturing in the last 2.5, 3 years that I've begun to establish projects in Africa, in particular in Kenya with our colleagues at Egerton University. But one of the things that we're very keen on looking at is this idea of modularization of technology and mobilizing that technology, because I think in some ways I often look that we can have the same kind of problems in the UK. We're looking to utilize our manufacturing and processing industry far more efficiently, and what we all understand about our UK industry is it's principally made of largely micro companies who may have production lines that aren't running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Therefore, there will be times and periods when there is downtime, and there will be times and periods when machinery isn't being used. And if that machinery is able to be modularized and mobilized, it can be moved somewhere else, and you truly get a distributed manufacturing system. And one of the ways that we're beginning to look at food supply chains with our African partners in GCRF is to look at this modularization and mobilization issue, so that you can truly get a distributed service in processing and manufacturing, because it's not just manufacturing foods, it's actually stabilizing the biomass in the first place, so that there's less risk of it being wasted, more chance of it being processed into valuable ingredients, and less chance perhaps of it only going to the international commodities markets. So the wealth is withheld, but stabilizing it in the first instance is incredibly important, whether that's by drying, chilling, whatever it is.
Yeah,
the issue of stabilizing is really, really important.
So cutting down the waste before you start, and then trying to maximize the sort of occupancy of any manufacturing or processing machinery.
Yeah, that's right. That's
yeah.
right. In the same way,
Okay.
in business, we have distributed leadership systems. We can have distributed manufacturing systems. And
So,
of course, that depends on data flow. And that's where secure data flows, such as the blockchains and so on, come in.
So Bernard, how do you think that, can I just check, is Nicholas on the call yet or not? No?
No, he's not.
No. Okay. Bernard, how, you know, how do you think that would work? Do you think that would work? I'm just interested to see, not trying to be confrontational in any way, shape or form, but do you think that could you see that sharing of machinery or is that, am I misrepresenting what you're saying here, Wayne?
No, you're not. I mean, Bernard, I don't know the coffee processing manufacturing industry that well, but I would immediately think about mobile roasting facilities, for example. If that was possible, then that could be of potential use to you, for instance.
Yes, in the coffee sector, what normally the trade is, the back of the trade is in raw coffee, which means all the processing is done where that coffee ends up through the suppliers and roasters. Very few of that, very limited amount is processed in this part of the Africa. So what we're looking at is, can we process from this end and then supply the market? In so doing, that means we're cutting off quite a lot, because we are even exporting the moisture, the unnecessary moisture into the importing countries.
Yeah. So it's a win-win for you all. Now, I think that we actually have Nicholas under a pseudonym. Nicholas, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much for joining, and apologies for the problems that you've had this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as you can see, Nicholas, we're discussing what role technology and innovation could or should play in developing new approaches to, or potentially different supply chain structures. Would you like to comment at all? I don't know whether you've been able to catch any of the discussion so far.
Yeah, yes, I've actually heard. I think for some reason I was seeing and hearing you, but you are saying I'm not on the call. So I think it's a matter of the links. But I've followed discussions from Mr. Bernard and also from Wayne. I've followed, but apparently my link was not indicating to you that I'm present. But having said that, I think I'm better placed to talk about how technology can impact on the food markets and food movements.
Yeah.
Saying that this is really what Trigger Food is all about. And starting with is that the farming systems in this part of the world are fragmented. So there is no systematic way in which farmers are organized or arranged, and therefore market access has been and remains one of the biggest challenges that small-scale farmers face in this part of the world. Now, on the basis upon which Trigger Foods was built, is that this technology has come in handy to help us build a platform upon which we are able to amalgamate or bring together all these farmers. So these farmers now have an access to the digital marketplace, so to speak. So using technology, we've been able to bring farmers together. We have visibility now in one single spot of which farmer is where, using your mapping technology and detailing and all that. Now, after bringing these farmers together on this digital platform, we have visibility of their plantings, visibility of their harvest, visibility of their quality. And therefore, right on this platform, we are able to book, plan for harvest for farmers. The same platform, we are able to execute real-time payments to the farmers. But more important is that when farmers are now brought together through this digital platform, it is now easier to share information. Information is power. Information is everything for an ordinary farmer in the village. The information about pricing, what is the current pricing vis-a-vis the cost of production? What is the trend, the market trends in the market? Our digital platform is able to inform farmers about this. At the same time, again, if you are to conduct training or pass very useful information about weather forecasts, outbreak of disease, how to control a pest, how to control a disease, you can disseminate this information easily now to a group of farmers, targeted group of farmers, using the same platform upon which they have been onboarded. On the other side of the coin is now the buyers. We call them the vendors in Kenya, the ones we sell to product.
Yeah.
Take it from farmer. The vendors again have been amalgamated on this same platform, and they have visibility of what is available for purchase. So they can view various warehouses and see we have potatoes, we have beans, we have this at this price. And on the same platform, they place their order. When they place their order on the same platform, a routing software that is connected to the geo mapping of these various business units, wherever they are, quickly comes up with a routing plan, creating efficiency, and ensuring that we are able to deliver this product to the door of the vendor. So this is our technology. Now, one more thing is that the same platform upon which they have had visibility of the product, they're able to order on the same platform, they're able to pay on the same platform. But one interesting thing I want to bring about is the issue of financing. So if a vendor, for example, which would be a grocery shop, a retail outlet, would like to receive 10 crates of bananas, which is about 110 kilos, for example, and they don't have money to pay. What we've done again, using technology, the same technology, we have generated vendor transaction history. So what we've done then, we've integrated banking systems at the back of our system, giving them real-time access to our database, to be able to use our transaction history of our customers, to be able to evaluate them for credit. Yeah. And in a matter of seconds, when the vendor chooses on the platform to say, I want to pay either by credit, then he says, I want to pay by credit. Quickly, within seconds, the finance company system accesses our database, verifies things, and comes back within 3 seconds and says, you are qualified for 10,000 savings loans. And then the vendor decides to pay by loan, and that money is passed on to Twiga.
Yeah, so it provides the surety there. I can see that. Yeah. So if you think about it though, one of the things, obviously you're talking about setting up a system which has been very successful, I understand, in terms of primary production and the products from that. So if we thought about, if I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying as a mind experiment maybe, but if you had a situation where maybe Bernard had got some processing equipment that he wanted to make use of, as Wayne has suggested, make use of 24 hours a day rather than the current 12 or something that he uses that for. Mm-hmm. Do you think your approach could actually almost get like a marketplace for people who wanted access to manufacturing plant?
Indeed, it will be useful. Our technology will be useful in two ways. One, we could very well coordinate raw material into this plant to have it fully serviced. At the same time, again, the products from that particular plant, the value added products, again, we will be in a position through our system now to make them available to the consumers to use.
Directly to them,
we can integrate easily in that.
Yeah. Bernard, do you think, should we have a go at doing this? Do you think would this work as a system?
Yes, that should work as a system, and I think that's a very good system because it's looking at all sides, from the production side to the supply side. And it pushes together all the key players from the producers, the vendors, and then the financials. So that looks a very good system.
Yeah. So Wayne, you know, is anybody doing anything like that that you're aware of? You know, incorporating your ideas about usage of the modular sort of parts of the manufacturing space and applying that digital sort of marketplace over the top.
Yeah, there are. I mean, the first thing you need is demonstrations, and that's essentially the business that we're in at the National Centre for Food Manufacturing in the UK. But once you've got a demonstration that has to be relatively low cost, it has to be modular, and it has to have an ability to be retrofitted into existing systems. But once you've got that and you can demonstrate that, then people begin to believe you it can happen. The next step is that, you know, in the UK, for these types of modular technologies, you're talking about thousands of pounds rather than tens of thousands of pounds. And then you have to think about how you get the investment, how you get the financing for those types of things. One of the things that I've picked up in the discussion, though, is it's a trap that I think we've fallen into in the UK. Manufacturers don't think like farmers, and farmers don't think like manufacturers. And I think we have to understand that gap. And also vendors are completely on their own. You know, they'll think, everyone thinks about quality, but no one's necessarily talking to each other about their interests or what their goals are with regards to products. But there's a big difference between agricultural biomass and getting the quality of that biomass right, and then converting that to quality ingredients. And that's a big deal, and that's largely based around data. And that's where these assured routes for data and the technologies associated with data come in. But no, in terms of demonstrating, yes, we have demonstrators on fast cooking, fast cooling, fast heating, but you need to have demonstrators. They need to be low cost. They need to be able to be retrofitted. And once you have that, in many respects, you can be pushing on an open door so long as you have the investment to install.
Yeah, okay. So Nicholas, I mean, you know, taking on this idea, Simon Holland has said, you know, that Alibaba do equipment from China as a marketplace. But I think Simon, what I was thinking about was not maybe the equipment you know, to buy the equipment as the marketplace, but more the access to the equipment. So as Wayne was saying, having a sort of a demonstrator or a capacity, which, you know, you could imagine that Bernard would have maybe a certain set of machinery that he would have in his plant that is not being fully used at any one time. So, you know, is anybody aware of anything like that, or would it be something that would be useful, do we think?
I tell you what we are looking at. To give you an example, Kenya, 90%, or let me say 80% of the rice consumed in Kenya is imported.
Yeah.
Today, okay, we do both fresh fruits and vegetables, and also we also do fast consumer goods, FMCG, as trigger. So we distribute a full basket.
Right.
And one of the products is rice. We do distribute close to 20 metric tons every single day for 6 days, just in Nairobi alone. And the worrying thing is that 90% of this 20 tons is imported rice. Yeah. So we are now currently talking to JICA and other organizations to say we want to have an investor that we can partner with, that can come. We have enough land, we have the right soil, we have the right climate, we have everything. We're looking at a partner that can come in we negotiate with the government. The government is willing to give us free land in the irrigation schemes, where we can now have somebody who can do production of rice from end to end. So literally coming the right seed, doing the right cultivation, mill
so
the rice.
You backfill your supply chain
exactly,
from your
yeah.
Excellent.
That's kind of a thing. So our system and the technology platforms that exist, and one of ours inclusive, we are ready for this. Yeah, and using technology, then we can be able to have, just as Wayne said, the cost of production. We can then be able to really lower the cost of production. We would have rice that is cheaper than the imported rice, but similar quality, but available at an affordable cost to the Kenyans to consume.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting a few comments, really rather more than questions, but I think they're worth putting into the mix, which is, I'm just looking at the time too. The point raised by Wayne is absolutely crucial. This is from Kasim Mutondi. The gap between farmers and manufacturing needs attention. The efficacy of enhanced engineering solutions may still depend on what happens between farmers, farming, harvesting and processing. So I guess what he's saying is it doesn't matter how fabulous your machine is. If you're not putting the right stuff in, you're not going to get the right stuff out. And capturing the data between these stages could have a significant impact on food supplies. I mean, Bernard, you must see that a lot with your coffee, because you know, if you're not doing the farming piece right, then the manufacturing and the processing isn't going to provide you with the right output either, is it? So how do you deal with those quality issues with Mzuzu Coffee?
Thank you very much. In terms of Mzuzu Coffee, we are basically a cooperative. So being a cooperative, we are member driven. And as a result of that, we've got everything within our setup in terms of quality control when it comes to processing, in terms of quality control when it comes to both primary processing and secondary processing, and then tertiary processing. So we are within ourselves in control of issues of quality.
Right.
And as a result of that, we are not very much worried when it comes to quality to be supplied onto the market.
Yeah, because you know your suppliers, and you can basically have a conversation early doors to say this isn't going to make it, this isn't good enough, and what you might need to do for next season, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. Okay. So finally, I'd just like a comment from Simon Holland, who said that NRSP, which we will need to find out what that is, in Pakistan have a fantastic model which includes farmers as co-owners of the processing plant for rice. So again, that is in very much, I guess, a similar model to yours, Bernard, at Mzuzu. So. Okay, right. Well, it's 11:30, so I'd like to thank Bernard, Nicholas, and Wayne for their help with that discussion, and thank you very much for your insights. We're now going to split into 2 rooms. So Shelley, will you do that? And we will just basically go into a discussion for the next 25 minutes from that. So thanks once again, panelists, and I'll see everybody in their rooms shortly.
You're welcome.
Shelley, are we going to be sent across?
Yes, just moving you all now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So if everybody just stays on the line, and then you'll get a prompt and it will ask you to come to a new room. So just wait a few moments while Shay sets that up, and then we can progress with the discussion.
We have Oladi has said Ocean Mint Company Nigeria are in partnership with processing cocoa beans to cocoa powder, cake and butter. The processing company is in Nigeria. So another example of processing, taking things a little bit further along that value chain.